Boom. We are live. What is up, everyone? It is Mikey Wine here, aka Gundamonium Works. And I'm back after a couple of weeks. I was out of town. I was in training and couldn't do the shows because I was in Portland, Oregon. But here we are once again. Happy Hump Day, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. Hey, dude, what's up? John, Big John's in the house. How you doing, man? He's listening from his garage, I think. Anyway, so yeah, good to be back, and it's kind of warm. Getting the summertime kind of without time. Has been waiting for weeks now. Just a couple. Sorry, man. I thought about doing one of the training classes I had was on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so I thought about doing a Thursday broadcast, but I didn't, and then the next week I had to drive down to Portland on Wednesday night. So I was on the road at the time my broadcast normally goes. So anyway, so we're here. I have done quite a bit of work with all the photo etch stuff. Still have more to do. I'm going to keep doing that tonight, but at least I can show everyone where we're at with this 135 scale Tamiya Abrams M1A1 Abrams tank, and this is probably one of the earlier kits that they made. I know there's several versions of this now, so I have experienced some minor fit issues, probably just because of the age of the kit. But other than that, nothing super big. But what I will talk about first is when I originally was this. This is basically the top portion of the hull. And not having experience with an Abrams tank and not knowing what is what and what I'm looking at, I was trying to decipher what I was seeing in the instruction booklet to what it actually was. And we have his two headlights here, and in the book it tells you to put a wire in this little Z-shape, kind of a Z-shaped thing. There's a couple of pieces of photo etch there. And so I thought when it said wire, I thought that was a wire that goes to the headlights. And a good friend of mine, thank God he was around, Joe Lustig, he actually drove the Abrams tank, and he told me right away that I made a huge glaring error and I needed to fix it. So I've been saying I don't care how accurate this is in the beginning of this build. I don't care if it's accurate or not. It's just going to look good. But this was something I couldn't overlook. I had to fix it. So what this wire is, and you can see there's one on each side. Basically, it's like a big torsion spring. It's not a wire. What the instructions was telling me to do was to use a wire to recreate this torsion spring. And basically what it's designed to do is to hold the front fenders down. That's really all it is. And there's a couple of eyelets. I made these little eyelets out of copper wire wrapped around a drill bit. So I constructed it right, but I ran the wire over to the back of these headlights thinking that's what it needed to go. Anyway, so I told him I'm going to fix it. So I cut the wire, I repositioned everything, and I glued it down to where it should be now. So this is accurate. Eventually this is going to be painted all the same color. You're not going to be able to really see that, the black wire. It's not going to be black. It'll be the same body color, whether I do a camo scheme or just the, the standard tan color. But anyway, you can see the wire there that I used, and it's just a small piece of like 32 gauge wire that I bent and shaped, and then I glued it down. So it represents that torsion bar that holds the fender down. And the only reason that would be disconnected from this little bracket here is if they were doing track maintenance. And it allows you to lift the fenders up and do track maintenance. That's what it's for. So I fixed that. That's the main thing. And then I added the fenders here. These are rubber. The real life tank. These are actually rubber, like a little like mud guards, or kind of like a mud guard. It would just be a flap of rubber. So those will eventually be painted flat black and then weathered to look like that. So, but the main thing is what I've been working on mostly is the turret section. So there's actually a ton of photo etch that I've done on here. I'll get into that a little bit. You see this ring here. There's lots of little latches. The screen in the back of this, in the stowage area, that's all photo etch. I also had to add the lids here for the smoke dispenser storage boxes on each side, and there were eventually there. I also have the actual smoke dispensers. Those are in my. I'll show you those in a minute here, but these were the boxes. A lot of little pieces had to go on there. There's some hinges, little hinges and brackets and things that held those on. Those are all secured in place, and I've got a few more little pieces here and there that have to go. So we'll continue on that. This is the actual barrel that's all been sanded. Seam lines been fixed, and everything like that. I've got the rear exhaust. All this stuff is still sitting here. Here's some of the other photo etch pieces that I've been working on. I've got two little bins here. Little tiny stuff, a lot of little stuff. What I maybe need a little help on is these are like louvered. They're supposed to be for stowage, and I'm not sure. The instructions on the photo etch tell you to have the louvers facing up, like the fins going up at an angle. But I've seen several actual real life images where those pleats are going down. So I'm not sure exactly how to mount this. And this is supposed to go on right here on the side of the turret. These little rails here. It's supposed to go right in the middle. I have also seen one in the back, but they're supposed to be mounted right here. So before I glue them on, I'm trying to get some clarification on what direction they're supposed to go. And I might actually just ask my friend Joe, who obviously knows a lot about these tanks, having actually been the driver when he was in the military. So that's another thing I got to solve before I do that. And then I've got, well, let me grab this again. I've got this is the turret section that goes on right here. Okay. You've seen them down before. Okay. See, that's the thing. It's like you could easily flip it over and reverse it. I just want to make sure that part's right. I guess it doesn't, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe they could go either direction and you'd be fine with that. I'm not even sure I'm going to stick anything on them. It's just basically more of the photo etch that I'm attaching to the kit. So that's what I was trying to do. So here is the actual where the barrel of the turret goes in right here. Okay, so eventually this is all going to be connected. This is actually a piece of photo etch that I had to roll around a drill bit and attach to this. So very tricky, very hard to do. I kept the original part because I wasn't sure it was going to come out right. And in fact, the tube the photo etch tube for this was slightly larger than the original piece. So I was actually able to use the original inside as a support and glue it on and make it nice and sturdy. So this will be glued on eventually and in place, and then the turret and everything will go on there. I've got some other little pieces like these little, oh God, I'm just making a mess of things. These are little ammunition boxes, and they go right up here in front on each side. So there's going to be one on each. Of those little ammo boxes will go in there. One thing I'm noticing, because this kit is so old, some of the stuff is very, very brittle. And some of it was broken on the sprues before I even cut it off. And when I, like this machine gun here, I'm trying to pick it up very carefully. One of the machine guns, the barrel was actually broken off. And I didn't notice that until I went to cut it off. Hey, okay, Joe's in the house. Now I can ask Joe. Here's what this louver things are. Well, maybe you can just tell me, Joe, which direction to mount them, because do the pleats go facing up, or do they go facing down, or does it really matter? That's the question. Because I've seen images of both. I would say I've seen more of them facing downward, where here, you know what? I'm just going to pick it up and I'll show you. I'll get back to that. So if I can hold this up, you can kind of see. Right now they're facing up. Okay. The camera angle is looking down. If I turn this over, now they're facing down. You can see all the edges there. So if it doesn't matter which direction they go, then I'll just pick one and we'll deal with it. In that respect, if there is a specific way it's supposed to go, then maybe I will consider, depending on what kind of stowage I guess I'm using. So what I end up with. So the first way, so facing down. So in other words, the fins are going down. Is that what you're saying, Joe? Because like I said, I've seen images of it both ways. Oh, shit, I just dropped it. That's okay. Went right back in my bin. It's good. So yeah, so this way. So this would be the top, and this would be the bottom. Does that look right to you? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, then it's settled then. That's what we'll do. Anyway, I said, I don't know if you were in, Joe, when I was talking about you. I did thank you very much for helping me with those torsion bars and explaining the reason why I made a huge error on that. And I know I've been saying that this wasn't going to be an accurate build, but something like that was very glaring and I needed to fix it. So here's the finished product. Eventually it will be painted, but now they're in the brackets properly and there's little rings and stuff holding them down. So that will be fixed. It will look nice. So anyway, moving on. Tons of photo etch have gone on this. I've got a few pieces I was talking about, like the machine gun here the barrel was broken off. It was actually broken on the sprue, so I had to fix that. So I'm dealing with some really delicate stuff. And one of the things, like here's one of the ammo boxes for the larger of the two guns. Those will have some rounds attached to the machine gun when I'm done with that. I've got a hatch, the bottom of a hatch here. Some of the tow cable stuff. These are some larger boxes that go on the back in the stowage area. They've got little handles and things. There's all little photo etch pieces that I've been gluing on and attaching. And here are the actual smoke dispensers. We've got these little brackets I had to fold on and attach to the back of that. Fins down. Everybody there. Thermal identification panels. Interesting. I would not have known what that meant. So you tell me, Tyler, my friend Tyler's here buzzing in. Fins down from my buddy there. Thermal. Is that true, Joe? Does that make sense to you? What's up, Julio? What's up? Julius, what's up, buddy? Oh, I don't know if I said your name wrong. I am sorry. But I'm just trying to get those these panels installed correctly. When I put them on, eventually when I glue them down. We got the little hatch here. There's a little photo etch. I don't know if you can see that. Tiny little handle. Had to attach to the hatch. We've already seen this, the auxiliary power supply. Here's the other hatch. Oh gosh, I'm dropping stuff. I got it. So there's the other little hatch with the handle there. Yeah, they're ID panels. Okay, well, cool. Good to know. Because I don't know. It doesn't specify especially with the photo etch, it doesn't even tell you what they are. It just tells you how to assemble everything and where to put it. It doesn't really say what it is. So this is all new to me, and I'm learning as I go. But one of the things I was talking about, pieces being very brittle. And one of the things I've been dealing with are these tow cables. I've got 2 of them here. These little tiny tow cables, and you're supposed to bend them a little bit and install them on the side of the turret, or from here to here. And they're supposed to kind of have a little bit of a bend to them. And believe it or not, there's actually 4 or 5 little tiny photo etch straps that I have to wrap around this cable and attach it to this, as well as these little end brackets. Okay. The problem was every time I tried to bend this stuff, they would just snap on me. And one of them was already broken on the sprue, just like the machine gun I was dealing with earlier. So what I decided to do, and what I'm going to try to do, and I haven't done it yet, obviously, because these are still in one piece, I'm going to cut the ends off, because the ends are about the only thing that are really usable. I'm going to take some of this wire here. This is about the same gauge as the cable of each one of these tow cables. And I'm going to cut off a piece, strip this entirely down, twist it up really nice, and then drill out each end of these tow cables and install the new wire in them. And that way I'm free to bend it as I need to and make it work properly. This piece is more than long enough for both of these cables. The other thing I've got left to do is this is a number plate that'll go on the back of the stowage area if I use that. There's the little rounds here, they'll look like brass ammunition rounds that will go in each one of the guns. There's a couple of doors here for one of the hatches that I still need to install. And then there's a spool. The spool uses this little wheel here, one on each side. And then there's another piece of photo etch round that I have to bend around it into a tube, which I'll end up probably using another drill bit. That seems to be the easiest things to use, and try to build that spool. If I can do that, that's supposed to mount on the back of the stowage as well. I also might order a bunch of stowage, like resin stowage items off eBay or something. There's a third-party resin kit that has a bunch of little bags and crates and bottles and all sorts of cool stuff that I can mount to the back of this thing. So I may add a little bit of that too, and just fill up some of this stowage area back here. And I've even seen additional like baskets that can be mounted to the back to extend this even further back, but not yet. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to go that deep into it. So for now, let's see, what am I going to do? I guess I'm going to try to strip this wire and see if I can make new cables, I guess. So interesting that those are ID panels. How do they work as an ID panel? Is it because they attach something to those louvers, or is there something else that, do they move in a certain way? I'm just curious. Kind of fascinated by it. But yeah, there's still a few pieces left on the sprue that I need to use. There's the other gun, a couple of small bits that have to go on the hull. I've still got to take apart the tracks and start priming everything. But right now, it's just a matter of attaching all the photo etch that I can get on the entire kit, and then I can shoot it once with primer and be done with it. Yeah. So that's where we're at. Anyway, good to see Tyler in here. I didn't expect Tyler. That's cool. Nice to see you, Tyler. Even though I did just see you at work like 2 hours ago. And we'll see each other tomorrow too, right? Okay. So I've got some wire strippers here, and I know I have a set for this kind of small stuff. Let me pull those out. I was unprepared. I did not get those. Here we go. I found these on Amazon, And they are a really, really small set of strippers for some really tiny gauge wire. What's nice is that this even goes down to my 32 gauge for my LED work and stuff. So that's why I got them. It came with a set of 2. This is the smaller one. The other one I took to work with me because we don't have anything that small in the automotive industry. But if I remember, just set my reminder and tune in. Well, cool. Glad to hear it, man. That's okay. I hear that. I hear that a lot. I don't expect everybody to remember. Sometimes I send out little reminders. Like I'll go on Instagram and talk to some of the people I know on there and say, hey, going on in an hour or going on in 30 minutes or something. So basically what I need here is, oops, I'm going to measure this. See how long a piece I need. See if I can get this wire to work. Where is my ruler? My bench is a mess. Considering it's all kind of contained in one area, I haven't done a whole lot, but it's just, it happens invariably every single time I build something. It just starts out clean and then it just starts to get this disaster. So I need a piece about just under 3 inches. I can trim it down from there. Let's see how many millimeters. Let's go metric. So just about 72 millimeters. Yeah, it's pretty small stuff. Here, I can show you actually. I don't think I got a spool out. Let me show you how tiny this stuff is. Well, it's low voltage, With LEDs, all low voltage stuff. So yeah. Here's my spool of red, and here's my spool of black. But it's and it's multi-strand too. That's the cool part, is that it's actually like a 6-strand wire. So you still get that nice electron flow versus a solid core wire, which would only allow minimal amount of, again, with LEDs you don't need a bunch anyway. So I'm going to see how much I can strip at once here. I'm going to keep, ooh gosh, that took off too much. Shit, I got to be careful. So this is what I want to do. I want to strip this down and then just twist it. I may have to go with a larger gauge wire. I thought this might work, but yeah, I lost one wire during that. It's so cute. Yes, it is. But it also works with, in tight spaces. That's the important thing. This is actually a little bit thinner. I'm going to try stripping from this side, just going a little bit larger. Let's try this, because I don't want to lose any of my wires. That seems to work. 3 in. Damn it. Every once in a while I'm losing one though. I think I've got more of this wire. So when I go to strip this back, it pulls like a strand out, and that's what I don't want. I want to be able to shape it, but I also need to make sure that it holds together. Come on, baby. Oh, yeah. Well, this is not working out the way I wanted it to. Got a big enough piece here, though. Oh, you know what I could do? I have some copper wire that I could strip back. I've already got stripped. Actually, all I need to do is strip it, or pull out the amount of strands necessary to get the right size cable. I might actually do that instead. because I've got this piece of copper stranded wire here. I've got more than enough here. It's just too big around because there's too many strands. But if I just pull out about 6 or 8 of them, I might be able to have a nice cable. The whole point is, what I want to do is cut these ends off. You kind of see the eyelet there. I need to keep that and cut it right here where the cable goes in. So it's about maybe a centimeter back from the very tip of the eyelet to here. I can drill a small hole in the end of this and then insert the glue it in, insert my cable and glue it in. And then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 actual little cable strap or cable. I don't know if they're straps or they're just like binders to hold the cable together. I've got 5 of those on each one that I have to try to wrap around with this photo etch, which is going to be just so much fun. I mean, we're talking stuff that's so small, your eyes go crossed by the time you're done. I can only do it for a few hours at a time, and I'm just like, ugh, done. So for now, I'm going to put the strippers away because I think I'm going to try to use this method instead. This is some nice, decent gauge copper wire, and I can pull out a few strands of it. I'm not sure what gauge each one of these strands is. It's pretty small, but if I get enough of it, they're hooks. Should be open at the top. Use a braided picture hanging wire. It's stiffer like the, yeah, well, that's kind of what this is, Joe. If you're talking about, I know what you're talking about, that like picture hanging wire. This is a piece of like something I stripped off of probably a car. It's a decent size set of copper wire. Once I pull out as many strands as I need, I'm going to cut it to length, and then I will just keep removing a strand at a time until I get the right diameter, and then I can go from there. You're talking about the hooks. You're talking about the ends of the cables are supposed to be open, or an eyelet, because even the reference photos you guys sent me showed eyelets. Should be open at the top. I'm not sure what you mean by that. It'd be nice if there was a way to actually show pictures on this with everybody. So what I'm going to do is cut a straight piece off of this. I've got bits of wire everywhere. Let me get my little cutters here. Okay, so that's longer than I need, but I can always trim it back. This is obviously way too big, so I'm going to unwind this. Actually, maybe reduce it by half. So start with that. Take these pieces and wind them up. All those little pieces. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's what you meant. They're hooks. Okay. Because the pictures, and like I said, sometimes with the photo edge, especially the instructions, are not always entirely detailed really well. And it just shows, like, I'll show you the picture. So this is what it shows you. So if you look right here, there's the cable, okay? And then this is the little hook, or as you're calling it, that's supposed to go around the cable. So I've got about 5 of those that are wrapped around. So they're just supposed to be hooks to lay the cable into then? Is that what you mean? They don't actually wrap completely around it. It's just like a U shape. That would make sense if you're talking about hooks, basically. So I might have actually nailed this. I might have to pull one strand out, but I'm twisting this up. And as I get it tighter and tighter, it looks pretty close to the size. Yeah, you know what? I mean, I might be okay with one less strand, but I'm pretty close. Okay. All right. So I guess the instructions then were correct. It looks, well, yes and no, because it looks like they show the picture of a hook, but then they show the thing that you're supposed to remove from the cable. You know, the original, you're supposed to take a tab off of the cable, and it's all the way around it. So that's why I thought it was something that was attached. But now it makes sense. Okay. Well, that's going to be even funner to install then, because then I got to figure out where to place those and glue them on individually. Yay. So much fun. So as I'm winding this up, I might need to go one less strand, and then I can count how many strands I got and duplicate that. So I'm going to pull one out. Start with the short one. There's a short one anyway. Take him out. Damn it. It's not going to be that easy. I went into this with good intentions, but okay, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. I'm just going to kind of unwind this again so I can loosen this up and pull that one strand out. Doesn't take much, but one piece of copper be all the difference. Okay, there we go. Yeah, that's quite a bit different. Now that I've got one less strand there, it's actually a tighter weave, which is exactly what I wanted. So let me wind this back up. Actually, let me count these first. So 1, 2, 3. Oh boy, I gotta zoom in with the magnifiers here. Count my strands. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like 9. So 9 strands should give me the cable size that I need. And if I can just drill a hole to accommodate that, then I will be in good shape. It's actually just slightly longer, which is perfect. So I can trim it down as I need. Okay. So before I forget, let me write that down. So 9 strands. I'm just going to write 9. That way I don't forget. They're hooks, huh? And I've also got these little tiny brackets that I had to bend around that go over the ends of the cable. These little guys. I don't know if you can even see that. It's like a slides over the actual eyelet. I got 4 of those too. And those were fun to bend. All this stuff's been fun to bend. All right. So I got this cable wound up. I'm going to keep one in whole so I can make sure I get the right length. And I'm going to cut these ends off. Here goes nothing. This ain't going to be fun. But they were just too brittle. Just too brittle. Okay. And of course, you have to make sure you glue them on in the same. They need to be clocked in the same position. All right, the cable has been removed. We have just in here. I'm going to straighten this out slightly. What's up, Angel? Angel's here. We're just recreating tow cables. I think you and I were in a conversation earlier about this off camera. Kind of know what's going on. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to drill out this little tiny end here. I've got a center punch here. I'm going to center punch this so I can hit it with a drill bit. Oh boy. Okay. I've got to move this over just so I can get to my drill bits here. Let's see. This one may be too big. Yep, too big. Okay. I'm going to have to find another bit here. This is too small, but I guess it's a good starting place. Got a really tiny bit here. Use this as a pilot hole and make it larger. Yeah. Sorry, Mike, gotta get back to bed. Oh, no worry, buddy. Thanks for stopping in, Joe. I really appreciate all your help on this project. Seriously, even though you said you wouldn't nag me, please do. I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I really appreciate your input. Okay, so got a really tiny bit. This is like maybe 0.25 millimeter, maybe a 5.5 millimeter. I'm just trying to drill a pilot hole in the end of this cable end here, and then I'm going to try to use a slightly larger bit to finish it. Because I don't think I'm going to be able to fit the whole cable in here. I'm trying to go deep enough that I've got at least enough to kind of bite on there. All right, now I've got some other Dremel bits here we need to swap out. Let me see if this is... Ooh, I like it. This is nice. I think this is going to work perfectly because this is a 1/32 drill bit. And it seems like it's just the right size. It's not too large, but it's big enough that I'll be able to accommodate that cable. Okay. So I'm going to do the pilot hole on the other side before I swap out the bit, because this is my really small pin vise. This is the one I'm going to have to use for the other bit. Thanks, man. Text me any questions you got. Looking great so far. I appreciate it, Joe. Again, you've been a huge help. Sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. Get somebody who's been there. This guy literally drove the M1A1 tank. He's been a huge help when it came to the little details. So I'm gonna remove this bit. I'm gonna swap it out with this 1/32. Make sure it's straight. All right, and now I'm gonna pull this out. Who's pinging me? Oh, that's Joe. I'll check it later. So I'm going to go in and widen this hole here with this other bit. I'm going to be real careful because it's very close to the same size as the piece I'm trying to fit. So I got to be real careful it doesn't blow out the side as I drill through. So far, so good. I think I'm getting deep enough here that I have enough to glue it. Okay, let me see how the end of this is going to fit real quick. Now, granted, I'm going to have to trim this down. Yeah, there's not enough. I've got to cut these evenly because all the strands are at a separate, different lengths. So I'm going to trim off. Try to wind this up real tight. Hopefully that's tight enough. So close. So close. We have to remove one more strand, I think. Let's see. Let me compare it to the other one. What size, Angel? I'm sorry, I'm going back to your question here. What size did it turn out to be? What are you asking? What size of what? The cable? Or you're talking about the size wire? Because what I did was I ended up taking a piece of my copper, just stuff that I'd already stripped, a bunch of strands, and removed half of them really, and started making my own cable out of that. I tried stripping that wire I had, but it was too thin. One, it was too thin, I think, in the end, even after I twisted them together. And then two, every time I tried to strip the wire back, I kept losing a strand. It would pull one out I kept losing a strand. It would pull one out or cut half of it off when I hit it with the wire strippers. So I forgot that I had this piece of this is already braided wire. Probably came out of a car. And there's more than enough strands here. So what I did is I just cut a piece off and pulled out half the strands and started twisting them together to see what size we got. I think I'm still just too large, so I might want to reduce this down to 8 strands. I've had it at 9 before, but I think I'm going to have to unwind it here and go down to 8. It's going to take some time to get this right, but it's what you got to do sometimes when you're fabricating something out of nothing. So I'm just unwinding this strand here, and then I'm going to pull one more strand out, get it down to 8, and then twist it again. Ouch. Sharp end. Okay. Almost there. It takes a little bit of time to, after you've wound it up, it's hard to get it back off. We're almost there. So I'm going to get it down to, I think I've got one little shorty here I'm going to pull out anyway. And that will get me down to, okay. Just about right. Do I have a broken wire? So just to recount these again, make sure I got it right. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9. So I'm going to pull one out, go back down to 8. And we'll try again, because one strand will make all the difference. You'd be surprised. All right, there we go. Hell, I might even need to take 2 out. But Just for the sake of test fitting, I'm going to only wind up just the end of this so I don't have to unwind the whole damn thing again. Let's see if I got it small enough this time. All right. So take this wire end. Where's the bigger one? No, that's not it. It's this one. Yeah, still so close. I compare it to the plastic. It's really close. If I go one more strand down, take it down to 7. Okay. One more out. Now we're down to 7. Let's see what that does. Once this is painted, you never know it, you know. That looks good. I think this is going to work at 7. So I'm going to change that. Well, let me fit it first and then I'll figure it out. Get it wound up tight enough here. Oops, this is the one I drilled. Oh, perfect. 7 it is, my friends. Check it out. I was able to pop that right into that. Might need to go just a little bit deeper with my drill bit, but that's going to glue in there nicely. That'll fit. Okay. 7 strands it is. So I started at 9. I thought that was right, but 7 was the magic number. So let me wind this up now. Hey, what's up, Julio? How you doing, man? How's it going back in on the East Coast? Are you Baltimore? Oh, no, you're in New York, right? Because I know Brian's New Jersey, right? So I thought you're New York. I think you guys are really East Coast, way back East Coast. Good to see you on here too, man. As usual. I'm just making some tow cables. Sort of scratch building. I'm using the original ends off the kit part, but I'm twisting up my own wire, and it's gonna wear my fingers out, I think. So I got 2 drill bits. I had to start with a small pilot hole, and then I went to a little bit larger so I could fit the cable in. New York dying. New York's dying. Why? Do I dare ask? What's going on in New York? Is that because of all the smoke from Canada? I know there's a bunch of fires up there, isn't there, or something like that? So I think I got this drilled out enough. Yeah, that's nice. Look at that. That's so much better. I'm really happy with that. Because like I said, those plastic cables were just so brittle. I was having such a shit time trying to bend them and do what they want you to do with the kit. They want to have a little bit of bend in them. Smoke from Canada. Yeah, I heard about that today. Is it really that bad, huh? Damn. That's crazy. All right, I'm going to drill this out, and then I've got to cut this cable down to fit, or to be the right length for the whole thing here. So let me just finish drilling out this to make it the cable size, and I'm using a 1/32 bit for this. What's up, James? Andreas says the East Coast is screwed. Yeah, I know. I've heard it's pretty bad. I've seen some memes coming through too. I didn't realize it was really that bad. I mean, I know that we get smoke from our Oregon too and stuff. You know, we get smoke from Canada too as well during fire season, but I didn't realize it was really getting bad over there on the New York side. So I'm just using a 1/32 inch drill bit here to try to drill out the end of this cable. I've got to shorten my cable just a bit. I made it a little bit longer on purpose so I could trim it back. Once I make sure this is going to fit properly, I'll cut it down. Yeah, that's going to look nice. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's a little too long still. I got to cut it back, but it's definitely very comparable to the original part. All right, so let me cut this back and make sure I got the right length, which should be, make sure this is going in. What what are you trying to say, Angel? Not sure I'm reading that right. Okay. All right. Let me cut this back. So I need to cut it back to right about I'm going to have to hold these up. Okay, about there. So I'm going to trim it back to right about there. Okay. That's Tyler saying, oh, sorry, I got my mags on full. It's on fire. Abrams was the first model kit I ever did as a kid. Cut and glue. Yeah. That's okay though. That's cool. I mean, this is a pretty old kit too. This was given to me by a friend of mine that I used to work with in California, and he gave it to me probably. Let me see. I got to count backwards here. Gosh, 6, maybe 10, 11 years ago. I mean, I'm not even sure there's. To me, I used to put. I mean, I know Bandai does. I'm trying to see when this kit was actually made. Manufactured in Japan. Doesn't really show the. Oh, 1992 is the date on the box. So, yeah, that's an old kit, man. But I haven't done a modern. I don't remember the last time I actually did a modern armor kit like this. So now I've also got to clock these in the right position because there's two little. Oh, shit, I missed one. Hang on. There's two little knobs or little dimples that stick out that I have to use to glue it on there. was going to say early 80s. Yeah, no, it wasn't not that old, but might as well be 92. It was the first year I did the Renaissance Fair. Well, worked it, I should say, as a paid actor. I'd been to it before, but so I'm going to try to shove this in here, and then I want to make sure I got the length right. This side's giving me a little bit of grief. Did it around 2006-ish. The box was pretty beat up. Was it the same? Was it the same picture? Was it the same box? Was it this guy? Was it Tamiya? I guess. I mean, there's several new ones now. There's like you get different styles for sure, but I'm just curious as if it was the same model. 2006, huh? Still trying to get this last bit of cable in here. Maybe I need to drill this hole out a little bit larger because it's such a precise fit, and it's like I'm getting 6 out of the 7 little strands in there, and I got to get just enough to get that last strand in there. Every time I try to pop this in, it always pushes a strand out, which I guess in and of itself isn't a big deal, but I'm really just trying to fit this so I can see if I've got the right length. Yeah, see, I lost another cable. I keep losing one of my ends. All right, so I'm going to compare this to the original. It looks like my length is dead on. Perfect. So now all I got to do is try to get that last little strand to fit in there. So I'm going to wind this up again. Probably was too long ago to remember. No worries. No worries at all. I'm just going to try to wall this hole out a little bit. And then I can bust out the CA glue and finish this cable. That looks better, actually. I just put that bit in just for a little bit longer. Run it around. Damn it. Keeps popping one out. I think I can get all of them but one. I'm trying to kind of twist as I go in because this is a twisted cable, so I'm trying to keep the twist in the same direction. Kind of trying to prevent that from happening. And it keeps like one of them keeps running out the side. Yeah. I just may have to deal with that. Trim that off and call it a day. As long as those little... Yeah, there we go. Oh, okay. What am I going to do here? How am I going to fix this? It's almost like where I cut the cable, it just left a little bit of a burr maybe on the end, so it is copper wire, so it might be soft to the point where when I cut it, the actual tool mark is what's causing it to be slightly larger. Gosh, it's so close. I just can't. I got the other side in. I don't know why this one's giving me a big problem. Take a nail file. Just slightly taper the ends. Okay, yeah, you might be onto something, Tyler. I'm sitting here struggling with it. I've got actually little diamond files. There we go. Finally got it to get in there. Funny thing is, I got to take it apart now because I got to glue it. But at least I got it to fit. So, time to glue it. Got my Bob Smith Brothers CA glue. I don't need any accelerator here. This will just glue on its own. I guess I'll just dip this in and go. There we go. The glue actually helps this go in quite easily. It's like almost like a lubricant, to be honest. All right. And just again, I got to make sure I get these two little dimples line up. As long as those line up, I'm golden. All right. Voila, one cable. That only took way too long. But again, it's an experimental process here because I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull this off. So I'm trying to make sure I do it right. So I'm taking this other one here. I'm going to cut the ends off. Drill them out, and we'll do this over again. I'm going to get rid of this glue, extra glue, because I don't need that getting everywhere. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Just a little bit of a crush, and that's all it took. It's almost like it made it larger than it would normally be. So I'm just taking a little punch here, and I'm kind of center punching these ends so I can do my first drill. Make sure I'm in the center. And I got to swap out my bit again here. So this is going down to probably 0.25 millimeter. I don't remember exactly. I think I used this when I was doing fiber optics, so it's probably 0.25. It's pretty tiny. We'll grab this other. Okay. Just going to drill this out. Going down, there's a little step down on the end of this cable. It's about it's a little over 16, about maybe 2/16 of an inch. Just trying to. No, not quite 2/16, maybe about a 16th. So as long as I can get down that far, there's enough for that, the glue to kind of hold it in. So I don't know if you can see that, but see the little step down? It's maybe a 16th. Give you a summary of what? Just got home, what you doing with the water? Oh, I'm building new tow cables because the ones that came with the kit were just too brittle and they kept breaking. You're supposed to bend them a little bit and install them on the turret, the side of the turret, with a little bit of a bend, and there's a certain way they mount. Anyway, one of them was already broken on the sprue. It's such an old kit, and it probably got bounced around. And then the other one, when I was trying to trim off, there's some other little photo etch bits I have, the hooks that I have to install on them, and I was trying to trim those off of the original plastic, and it broke again. It was just like, you know what, I'm not going to be able to use these because they just keep breaking. So I got the idea to use some wire and just recreate them because it looks like they're just twisted cable, to be honest. It's not a whole lot to it. So I remember that I had some copper, some just raw copper wire that I had probably salvaged off of a car for whatever reason. I think I was using it as wrapping copper for doing like energy cables on a Zaku or something. And so I got this bundle here. It's probably, I don't know, 15 wires, 16 wires, I don't know. And I narrowed it down to 7 strands and makes a perfect size cable. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm drilling out the ends so I can accommodate that new 7 strand. Oh shit! See, and this is what I was afraid of. This is going to blow out the side. It's such a precise fit. I'm drilling out these holes, but it's okay. The glue will hold it. But the drill bit. Oh shit! I just launched that one at myself. I found it. I got it. Whew. I almost had to go diving under the desk for that one. But the drill bit is such a precise fit. I got to be really careful when drilling, and this one's just blowing out the side. But it'll be fine. I just once I add the glue in there, the super glue will hold everything together. It'll be okay. Yeah, that's Angel answered me. I made a tow cable, or I'm making a tow cable. And this one's not going to be as perfect as the first one. The first one turned out way better, but that's okay. I got to pull out 7 strands here and redo this. Twist it back all together. Okay, so let's see. 1, 2, 3. Gosh, these are all going to be different lengths now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Seven. All right, let's see if this works. See if I can get them all the same length for one. There we go. That's pretty good. And it's a little bit longer anyway, so I got to trim the ends off. So as long as I get it close. All right, let's twist it up. Not a lot of room to mess around. Yep, you bet you. And that's what I was having trouble with too, is I was twisting this as tight as I get it, but of course the ends were just flaring out enough. It was making my fit difficult, but I started out with 9 strands, and that just turned out to be too big. So I went down to 8, and that was too big. So then I went down to 7, and that just turned out to be perfect. So I'm twisting this up, getting it nice and tight. And then I'll have to cut the ends down and fit it. The cable goes from here and kind of follows this curve. It goes from here all the way back to here. Actually, a little bit further back, but the little divot, little nipple or dimple is going to go in that hole, and then there's another little hole here. That's where the second. So the cable runs that entire length on both sides, and so it has to have a little bit of a bend to it. And this will work out good with copper because I can form it, shape it any way I need to. I'm just trying to get all the wires twisted up evenly. That's pretty good. Trim the ends off here. Hey, Ken. I got 2 guys from work in here. What's going on, Ken? I got Tyler in the house, got Ken in the house. all my friends. How's it going, boys and girls? Good to see all you. Ken, I'll get you up to speed here. I'm scratch building some new tow cables. Well, not 100%. I'm using the original ends, but I am, yeah, with that edge blown out, it kind of just fits right in there, no problem. All right, so let's see here. Gosh, I had such great success with the first one, and then this one just said, nope. That's not too bad. I'm going to glue this in first, and then I will trim it down and glue the other end. So I'm just going to put a little dot here on the paper. Now, I'm not using accelerator either on this because accelerator works, but sometimes it has a tendency to make the glue a little bit brittle, and I don't want that. I'm just shoving this cable in the end here. I'll have to compare it to the one I made. And then I can cut it down to size here. So. All right, so I almost grabbed my God hands. Boy, that would have been a disaster. Okay, trimming down the extra. Yeah, could you imagine cutting that much copper with a pair of God hands? Ooh, what a mess. Would have ruined those right away. All right. And we got to make sure we keep those little dimple in line with this one. I mean, I guess if I needed to, I can always twist it a little bit to do some fine tuning when it comes to putting it on the kit, but at least this will get it close. All right. Cool. We're just going to let those dry. And then I can eventually put those on the kit. So I got all these extra strands here if I ever need to make a new one. No big deal there. All right. So what's next? Let's get rid of that. This is one of the photo etch sheets here. I've done most of this. I was going to work on this little spool here. I don't know how easy that's going to be to do. I don't know how fascinating that's going to be to watch, but basically have a flat strip of photo etch that has to be bent around into a tube that makes up the core of the spool. So you got two large circles and then a spool in between. So here is, I actually can show you. This ID panels, it looks like they are facing up. They are off. They're flipped down when they're on. Oh, okay. So maybe that's why I've seen both. So earlier I was talking about these little ID panels that they're photo etched pieces that I'm going to be gluing to each side of the turret. They have these louvers, what looks like louvers. So apparently they're facing up when they're off and they're flipped down when they're on. They throw a cold signal on thermal identification by friendlies. Wow, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that. That's the thing. I know nothing about these tanks other than this model kit that's in front of me. So I've been making corrections to the build based on input from friends and stuff that know better, including one guy that actually drove the Abrams tank when he was in the military. So good on him. So that would explain, thanks Tyler, because seriously, that would explain why I saw some stock images of the shit, I just lost my little troll bit. I saw some stock images of the louvers down and some with them up, and that's why I was wondering why the difference. And so that totally makes sense. So when, depending on the scenario that they're in, they can flip those up or down. That's kind of cool. It's crazy to think about, but it's kind of cool. I like it. So, should I do this? So I try to make this spool. I don't know. There's 4 pieces to it. In fact, I was going to show this before Tyler's distracted me. So here is the spool in this corner here. So you see there is 2 rounds on the outside. Then there's the center core that has to be, that's a flat piece that I have to bend into a ring. And that goes in between. And then there's a little bracket that holds it on to the outside of the stowage area. So each one of those little rings is right there, that little guy. I'm going to cut out. And then I will address any little edges with it, like every other piece with my diamond files. All right. So I'm using 4 times magnification on everything because this stuff is so damn small. And I can't see shit. I was kind of hoping George would pop on today. Kind of missed that guy. He'll probably talk about it tomorrow when he realizes he missed my stream. So I got one half there, the other half here. Probably have some little nubs to address, but nothing much. It'll be fairly easy because it's a large piece. It's when the really small ones is where it gets challenging. Because you're either trying to hold them by hand or put them in the bender and hold it that way. This is big enough that I can hold it and file it down without damaging the piece or accidentally flipping it the wrong way. All right. There's 3 little nubs on this piece of photo etch here that I got to take off, and then I got to cut the. Okay, that's perfect. Over here is the strip that I need to make into a tube, which can be quite challenging to get the right size. I found that a drill bit seems to work best because I can just wrap it around, and if it's too tight a circle, if it's too big, I just go to downsize it a little bit and then find the right one so it comes around to meet the other edge. That's what I did here. Like this piece here, that's all photo etch. That round. That was not fun. That was a pain in the ass. Why not? All right. A couple little edges to clean up on this guy. I'm just going to use the edge of my diamond file. Because it's such a thin piece, I don't want to bend it or distort it any. Plus, this is the edge where the two edges are going to come together that I need to glue when I make that circle. So it's got to have a nice clean edge. All right, so I'm going to start with this guy. This is just a bit that I had out. And this is, I can't tell. I thought I had a print on it. I don't know. It's probably around 3/16 or something like that. Already looks like it's going to be too large. So I'm just going to go around, or too small, I mean. So I'm going to go around in a circle here. Yeah, this is going to be way too small. So let me step it up here. Let me get a bigger bit. So this looks like 7/64. I'm going to step up to 5/32. Oh, what is my computer doing? It's been doing this shit all night. Good God, I keep getting all these notifications for check this, and you got too many programs that don't do anything, and blah, 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 blah. Just do what I want you to do. This is 5/32. Looks like it might actually be pretty close. Yeah, it still needs to be bigger, though. Because it should be able to make a circle where these two ends come together and meet, and that is too small. So I'm going to go up to, that one's out in the, I've got another bit, but it's being used in one of my spin pin vices. So let me find it real quick here. I've got so much stuff. I'm trying to stay organized, but it ain't easy. Too much in one spot. So let's see. So yeah, this is 11/64. Let me wrap this and see. Okay, that is really close. Because now I can get almost all the way around, and the edges actually, that's actually perfect. They're coming together and meeting like right around this bit. So this is 11/64 bit, and I've wrapped this piece around and used it as a guide. The only problem is now I've got to hold those together and glue it to make this tube. What I think I can do is once I get it glued, I can probably put it back on here and shape it if it's a little distorted, and it'll be all right. What are you showing me, Angel? I'll have to look at the. Oh, I see what you're showing me. That's cool. I'll look at that later. That's pretty badass. He's showing me a thermal image of those deflectors. That's pretty bad. That's pretty cool. This is almost the perfect size. So what I got to try to do, I've got to get myself a toothpick and some glue, because I'm going to have to glue this inside edge and then hold it there till it dries, which won't be too long. If I need to, I'll use a little bit of my Instaset, get that ready. So I'm just going to zoom way in. I'm gonna hold these two edges together and try not to glue my fingers at the same time. Which it doesn't look like that's going to be easy to not do there. Okay. Give me a second here while I try to glue these two ends together. Actually looks pretty good. If it's glued to my finger, I'm screwed. But it actually looks really good. I don't care if there's glue on the inside because this won't be seen. It actually will not be seen because the spools are going to, those two ends of the spools are going to come in and kind of sandwich that together. So I won't, shit, came apart. So close. I was holding it with my fingers. I'm trying to hit it maybe with some Insta-Set here once I get another dab of glue on here. All right, here we go. See if that worked. So close. Tried to use my drill bit to reshape it, and I knocked it open again. So remind me why we do this again? Because it's fun, right? I think I got a better fit this time. Actually, really good. Came out perfect, actually. Couldn't have done that better. All right. So now I've got this little tiny tube here. Let me see if I can even show you what that looks like. So there you go. It may not even focus, but you get the idea. So that is going to go in between these two little spool ends. So what I can do is actually just take this and place it right on top of one, and then I can put glue on the inside. Might be a little more. The glue on the inside, and that will just sit there without me needing to do anything. I'm just trying to get some glue all the way around. Each edge here. Now that it's kind of stuck, I can work it around a little bit. And then I just have to do the same on the other side. This is so much fun. Right, let me pick this up. Let's see what the hell is going on. Uh-oh. Oh no. Stupid thing glued itself to the table. Yeah, there we go. Let me get it up and move it. I'm going to reposition it here. I try not to get glue on my tweezers, but it's not working. This is not very interesting, I know. Ryan cut a piano wire on camera with a pair of... Oh, you talking about God hands? How long have I been using God hands? A few years. I mean, there are other probably single blade anvil style nippers out there, but I mean, God hands are pretty amazing. Although you really got to make sure you take care of them too. I mean, just like anything, you abuse it and it will not last. But they cut super clean. That's probably why they're so nice to use. All right, now I've got to glue the other side of this, which is not too difficult, but I got to try to get these lined up. It almost flew off. I don't even know if that's on right. Looks good. I don't know if I can hold this up yet, but let's see. So there's the spool. That's what I'm trying to recreate there. You see that? Add a little more Instaset just to hit that other side. That should take care of any of the glue in the middle. It seems not perfect on the inside of the spool, but I can always put that in a position where it won't be really seen. All right. So I got one little bracket I still have to attach to that spool before it can be attached to the model. And yeah, got the tow cables done. That's these two guys right here. Those will attach, make sure once they're glued and dried, they're already glued, but once they're dried and set and everything, I can think about putting those on. Yeah. So with that, guys, I think I'm going to call it a night. Thanks to everybody for chiming in and watching. I appreciate everything you do. Appreciate you guys' support the channel. Tell your friends. Let them know to go on YouTube, find Gundam Money Works, and like and subscribe. It's just going to help me grow the channel and reach more people and share what this hobby that we do. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you so much for everybody again that chimed in or that were talking through the chat and came in and watched, even if it was just for a couple seconds. I appreciate you. Continue doing what you do, and we'll see you next time, everybody. All right, talk to you soon. Bye for now.